Now that trade shows across America are wrapping up, it's easy to see that a lot of folks in the industry have their eye on a certain family of lane machines. In fact, our executive director even noticed it. So it's time to get the lowdown on what everybody's talking about. I'm Andrew Pfeffer. I'm the creator, producer, and host of Bowling with the Pfeff, and this is Hot Topics.
Well, our guest works for the Kegel Company. He actually just got back from one of the final trade shows that you'll find in America as of this recording, anyway. Doug Dukes is the VP of Sales at the Kegel Company. Doug, welcome to Hot Topics.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Can you give us kind of a once over of what you saw and experienced at the trade show today?
Yeah, so we had our last trade show today. It was actually local. It was in Tampa, so it was nice. Didn't have to jump on a plane for this one and fight all the traffic at the airport. But trade show season's been really good this year. Bowling centers are still doing well. They're obviously still purchasing lane machines, which is great for us, as well as chemicals. And I also see that a lot of people are, more interested in what's going on in the bowling industry now than I think they have been in the past. So it's great. There are a lot of interaction talking about different chemicals, what they can do to make their shots better, what they can do to make things hold up better. It's been really good for us to be able to help educate people as well.
Yeah. And certainly speaks to this ongoing growth in the sport, which we all want to see. I was talking with Executive Director Terry Howe, and she mentioned that there is a lane machine that a lot of people in the industry are talking about. Maybe you can, pull back the curtain a little bit. Let us know about the lane machine that so many folks are talking about. What is it? What does it do? And is it available?
It is available. There's actually a family of lane machines, believe it or not, and that would be the new Atlas family. So we released the first Atlas last year at Bowl Expo, and we released the Atlas Pro this year. The Atlas, a lot of thought went into this lane machine and into this family of lane machines. We had our Flex was our top of the line. We introduced that machine in 2013. We retired that machine this year. So it was, a workhorse for us. It was around for the last 10 years. But everything's getting more technological. And, we've always been a PLC-based company. For those of you that aren't aware, that's a programmable logic controller. So basically what that means, it turns inputs and outputs on and off, and they're used in a lot of industrial automation and things of that nature. The great thing about the Atlas family of machines is it's the world's first smart lane machine. So we're able to monitor that machine remotely when it comes to troubleshooting. The proprietor or mechanic is also able to do this. You're able to send patterns from anywhere in the world. If you called me in my office, or if I was in Korea doing an event, or in the middle of Europe somewhere, and said, Doug, I'm having a problem with my house pattern, I can say, no worries, turn your lane machine on. I can suck it out, take a look at it, and then, about 2 minutes, send it back to your lane machine. You don't have to email me. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to do anything. But the great thing about these machines outside of the smart technology is really that they're future proof. And this was something that we really started investigating, kind of being tied into one company and one type of processor. If that company decided that they weren't going to use that anymore, we had to find a solution, which we've done on a few occasions. Now it's more about the software and what the software allows the lane machine to do. So, for instance, now we use OnLogic controllers for our industrial PCs. If OnLogic was to say we're not going to manufacture that anymore, we go, okay, no problem. We'll find another brand that fits in the same size hole. And if it doesn't, we'll 3D print a bracket and send that out. We load the software and the customer's good to go. Along with that, it's the same thing with the touchscreens, as well as a lot of the components in the lane machine. So previously, we had a lot of external relays. We had a lot of things that turned a lot of different components on. And now everything is done through a PC board that we design and manufacture. It makes troubleshooting a lot easier. It's about 50% less wiring in the machine, and it's just an all-around better experience, for the customer. The machine's also able to do a lot of new things. So especially when you're talking about pattern theory and how patterns play on the lane, things of that nature. One of the biggest components that can change how a pattern plays, for instance, is the speed the machine runs on the lane. So if you look at all of our program sheets, you may have a pattern that has 10, 14, 18, and 22 IPS in that pattern, inches per second, how fast the machine goes down the lane. And if those machines aren't calibrated, or over time a motor slows down because it may have some carbon buildup or whatever the issue may be, if that machine's not traveling at the right speed, then all of a sudden, that load is not being laid where it's supposed to as the machine's going down the lane. These machines auto calibrate everything now. So every lane it runs, it's auto calibrating itself, which makes it one of the most accurate machines on the market. It also, in the new Pro model that we introduced this year at Bowl Expo, the buffer brush calibrates itself as well. So it has variable buff. It'll calibrate its speeds as it's going down the lane. And then we added some features to the machine that are just easier for the user, such as the automatic cleaner mixing upgrade, that allows you to change ratios going down the lane, so you can really fine tune ball motion in that aspect, and quick change buffer brush, which is really neat for proprietors, because now, let's say a proprietor or a pro shop operator is running a sport league, for instance. Yeah. And, your regular league comes in behind it, and they always say that the lanes are different because the sport league was first. You can pop a brush in and out in about 10 seconds. So you can have a brush in the back for your sport league, put that brush in, run those patterns, and then take that brush out and put your normal house pattern brush in, and you don't have any brush burnout or any, so-called pattern memory. So it works out really good in that aspect as well.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing technology that is in these new machines. You must speak to a bunch of proprietors and folks in the industry, and you get kind of a handle on the lay of the land as far as who's got the high-tech machines, who doesn't in their centers. How well would you say that the centers, by and large, are keeping up with the latest trends in technology?
I think the good centers are always going to be good. And, they're always going to stay in tune with what's happening in the industry. They're always going to be looking at the latest and greatest, and they're always going to be looking to be better. The great thing that we've seen now, and we really made a push for this, especially after COVID, when we were all kind of sitting around, weren't building as many machines. We obviously weren't traveling. I went from almost 200 days a year to nothing. We really started doing the webinars, putting things on our YouTube channel. JJ did a how to play patterns series. Gus and I, when we were together, how to read a lane pattern sheet, what you're looking for, how to adjust your lane patterns, things of that nature. So I think, everything's starting to even out a little bit. Those that want to learn about it have the resources, at their disposal to be able to learn more about it. Something else that we pride ourselves on is, our 24/7 tech support. So when you call Kegel, you obviously get a live person, and we have tech support 24/7. But our tech support is very personable. So, a lot of times after a call's finished, they may talk to that customer for another 5 or 10 minutes just to let them know about some of the latest products that are out, or, hey, I was looking at your pattern while I was in your machine diagnosing this, and do your bowlers see this? And, the proprietor all of a sudden goes, yeah, they complain about that all the time. Well, here, we can do this to fix it. It's one of the other beauties of having the smart lane machine as well. And that technology moving forward is we're going to be able to do more and more of that. But as far as, people learning and things of that nature, there's actually been an uptick in it. We've been asked to do a lot more seminars. I did 2 seminars this year at 2 different trade shows. My last one was in Pennsylvania. It was attended by, I want to say, close to 65 people, and about 45 of those were proprietors. So, getting the education out there and getting the buzz out and getting people talking has been very successful over the past couple of years.
Yeah, that sounds great. How do you think lane maintenance can factor into how pro shop operators or coaches can best serve their customers? And I use that term lane maintenance as a broad term,
Sure.
not just how you put out the patterns and things of that sort, but there are also other tools that Kegel has to help, some of that education for coaches to serve their students.
For sure. It's actually ironic. So my background in the industry, I started out in the pro shop area, and then I actually went to coaching. I coached for University of Maryland Eastern Shore for 10 seasons. And, if any of my former players are listening, they may be a little upset, but I won't say that we always had the best physical team out there. But I was pretty good at reading lane patterns, ball motion, and things of that nature. So, it put you 2 or 3 frames ahead of everybody else because you could make a move in front of it. And I think that's one of the keys to success, especially that pro shop operators can use, understanding chemicals, whether, it be ours or somebody else's, what the characteristics of those chemicals are, understanding topography when they get a lane graph, and being able to know how that's going to affect ball motion, understanding the machines. Obviously, different machines have different transfer systems. They lay oil out differently, and that also affects ball motion. And then we have advanced tools, obviously, from us. I know that everybody's aware of Strike Track, that our Specto system, being able to understand how to utilize that system, go to a center that may have that system, look at all the numbers that are involved in that. Pro shop operators can actually go out and do ball reports. So, you can take a smart lane machine like an Atlas. You're able to, download any pattern you want in a matter of seconds. So you can put a short pattern out that you're going to play on at an event, take all your equipment, bowl on Specto, and you can rank it all. And then you can take that same lane machine, go out, put in a long pattern in a matter of a couple seconds, and go rank another set of bowling balls. And it just gives you that edge to put you ahead of everybody else because you know where your equipment's going to fall into line. And then once again, as I said, the education side of it and what we've tried to do with obviously JJ explaining how to play different patterns, I had the webinar on how to read a program sheet and what to look for. We have plenty of webinars and seminars that we give on topography and how that affects ball motion, as well as all the tools that we have here for those that come down. I mean, we have a training center where we can change the topography on our lanes to match any surface in the world, basically, as long as we have a lane map. We definitely have all the tools that pro shop operators, bowlers, or proprietors for that matter could use.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And always, blows my mind about how far we've come as a sport when it comes to technology and information that players have access to through Kegel and the great products that you guys have. Doug, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate that. And if anybody's looking for some more information on Ipsia or how to become a member, the best place to go is the website, ipsia.com. You'll find it all there. And if you like what you saw here today, maybe you didn't like what you saw here today, do me a solid, like and subscribe to the channel. It's easy, it's free, and it really is the best way to help us continue to make great bowling content.